Now, Eastern holidays and Western holidays are really different. And that's one of the fun things about interacting with somebody that comes from a different culture. Now, let's say you're talking to some native English speakers and you want to explain a Chinese holiday to them, like Mid-Autumn Festival. Let's talk about that one since it's coming up. Now, one of the big parts of Mid-Autumn Festival is the story of where it came from. And it's kind of hard to tell that story. So that's what I'm going to do today, is kind of tell you guys how to tell the Mid-Autumn Festival story in a more 口语 way. Now, before we even get started, I'm going to tell my favorite version of the story just because I like this one the most. So, in the beginning, the earth was surrounded by 10 suns. Now, the suns were supposed to, take turns going around the earth. There could only be one sun in the sky. But the suns decided that they wanted to burn everybody on the planet. So they all came out at once. So there was 10 suns in the sky and everything started to burn. Well, on the moon, there was a palace where Hou-yi, that he was a god that lived on there, and there was Chang'e, who was a goddess that lived on this palace, in this palace on the moon. And Hou-yi saw everybody dying on Earth. He's like, that's messed up. And so he started to shoot all of these suns. He shot all of the suns except for one left. And that way people could be saved. Now you think that would be good, right? And everything was fine. But the thing is the suns had a dad who was Di Ku. And he was really angry about it. So he went to the Jade Emperor. And the Jade Emperor was in charge of all the other gods. And he said, hey, you know what? This Hou-yi guy just killed 9 of my kids. And I want you to do something about it. And the Jade Emperor is like, yeah, that's pretty messed up. So he went to Hou-yi and Chang'e. And he said, you guys can never be gods and goddesses again. In fact, you guys need to go to Earth. And you're just going to be mortal now. And you're going to grow old and die. And you can never come back here. And so Hou-yi and Chang'e were banished to the earth and became mortal. So Hou-yi and Chang'e went down to earth. But the thing is Chang'e wanted to be a goddess again. And she didn't want to grow old and die. And she's really sad. So Hou-yi went to Madame Wangmu, who was this sorceress that could make all kinds of potions. And she said that she could give them a potion that would allow them to turn back into gods again. But only one of them could drink it. And the reason for that was she was afraid that the Jade Emperor would punish her if he found out that she was helping them become gods again. So she said, either one of you can drink the potion, like all of the potion, and after you drink the potion, you can, be a god again. But the other person will be left behind on Earth and they'll die of old age. Or both of you can drink half of the potion. And what that'll do is you won't be gods again, but you'll live forever. So you'll be immortal and you will never grow old. And so Hou-yi's like, oh, that sounds great. And she said, oh, and one more thing. Before you drink the potion, make sure you do it on the 15th day of the 8th month. So Hou-yi went back. He told Chang'e about everything that Madame Wangmu told him. Well, after he told his wife about it, he told Chang'e about it. He went on a hunting trip. Well, Chang'e really wanted to go back and be a goddess again. She didn't really want to stay back on Earth. And on the 15th day of the 8th month, before her husband came back, she drank the whole potion, and it turned her back into a goddess, and she floated all the way back up to the moon. Now, when Hou-yi got back, he saw his wife floating up to the moon, and he was screaming and crying, trying to get her to come back, but she couldn't hear him. And so every year after that, on the 15th day of the 8th month, he would set up a table full of food and look at the moon, hoping that he could be reunited with his wife. And people started to, copy what he was doing, and they would gather together with their families. And that became a tradition, and it continued on and on all the way to today. And that's where Mid-Autumn Festival comes from. At least that's one version of the story. There's a lot of different versions of this story. Now, the best way to explain this holiday to a native English speaker is to say, it's a lot like Thanksgiving. Our family gets together and we eat a bunch of food. And when we celebrate it, it's on the 8th month of the lunar calendar, and it's on the 15th day. And the reason that it's during this specific time is because that's when it's a full moon. And the full moon has a round shape to it. And that's really important because it's a circle. Circles are never ending. It's a gathering together. It means unity, right? And what's cool is the character for round is one of the ways that we can say united or gathered together in Chinese. And that's also why we eat a mooncake, which is also circular, because it's symbolic of that unity of our family being together, being gathered together. And the other thing that we'll do is we'll go outside and have barbecues so that we can look up at the moon and see that, remember the unity of our family. And that's what we do during that time. If you have any other questions about other famous Chinese stories that you want to say in English, leave a comment below or send us an email. If you like this kind of content and you'd like to receive more, click on the link below and submit your email, and we'll send you stuff just like it in the future.